welcome on in. You are tuned into Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. Sitting in here today, we're going to be going over psychedelics, everybody's favorite. The positive effects, the negative effects, the use, the misuse, the misinformation, the information, and the disinformation. We cover it all in here today. So we're sitting in here today. We got a couple new guests on the panel. Y'all know General Jenkins. What's up, Jenkins?
What's up?
We got some new guys in here today. Down there on the end, I got Mr. Fogg. How you doing, Fogg?
Doing well today. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just hanging out.
All right.
And also, we got Derek in the house today. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Having a good time so far.
Yeah,
Looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in here and talk about psychedelics, like we said. The thing about psychedelics, it's a subclass of hallucinogenic drugs whose primary effect is to trigger non-ordinary mental states or trips and expansion of consciousness. Now, my question about that is, though, when I look that up, it's a subclass of hallucinogenic drugs. What does that mean, being a subclass?
Yeah, honestly, when you sent that to me the other day, that's the first thing
a subclass.
I questioned it. Yeah, so that's not your
wording. That was like Google. Yeah, I would never. I just figured they were all hallucinogenic, unless is there some that's not hallucinogenic?
I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Hopefully, they're not getting ready to try to lump like the whole SSRI thing in with that, which
I could see that because they need a negative stigma attached to it. That way, they keep it suppressed.
Yeah, that was a weird choice of words to define that.
So that brings about a question, and I'd like to hear what all of y'all think on this. Why are they illegal? If you can't be hurt, you can't be addicted to it, all you're doing is expanding your mind and consciousness, why is it illegal?
I believe you just said exactly why it's illegal. Because it does expand your mind and your consciousness. It opens you to different experiences, and I don't know if you've ever taken them and actually had the most brilliant idea in the entire world and then forgot about it because it happens. But, yeah, if there's a subclass of hallucinogenics, what's the primary class? And I do believe that's what...
I don't know. We might have to look that up at some point today because I just read that and it hit me like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of wild because, literally, you sent me that. I was at work, skimmed over it, and that's the only thing that I really remember about reading that thing was my brain went subclass.
Well, they've loosened up their grip on marijuana and hemp here as of recent. I wonder if they would ever be inclined to loosen up their grip on what is now illegal. As far as psychedelics.
Yeah, it might be hopeful optimism, but I really think that might be exactly what's going on right now. There's a lot of I've seen things in some surprising places, I guess, from outlets or from sources that you would never expect, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of pushback because, I think the cat's out of the bag,
Well, if they can find a way to profit on it, then they'll let it happen. But they're not going to do it just for the general good.
Yeah.
I think they do that the same reason they did marijuana way back in the 40s, putting out a commercial about some kid got high and murdered his entire family with an axe. And they put it, and it was a fake story, and they put it out there so people would be scared of weed. And the reason weed and psychedelics, I think, are the way they are, restricted, classified, scheduled, is because I can grow weed, I can grow mushrooms in my house. I can't grow oxycodone, I can't grow antidepressants, I can't grow weight loss medication in my house, but I can grow mushrooms and psychedelics, and they know there's a lot of medicinal uses for it. They both are great on anxiety, depression, one of the two biggest things that people go to the doctor for medicine for. And they don't want people, they'll stop going to the doctor like, oh, I smoked some weed now and I'm fine, or I take these, microdose A lot of people are microdosing the mushrooms now, and if you do that, supposedly it lowers your anxiety and depression significantly.
Absolutely.
Well, let's jump down the list real quick. I'm just curious. What do you guys know, and who has done? Let's go down this list. LSD. Has everybody here done that? Because I haven't. You two have?
Yep.
Check.
All three of y'all have?
Oh,
Damn,
yeah.
I'm behind the times on that, ain't I? What do you know about LSD? I know it's synthetic. It's created in a lab, right?
Correct.
It doesn't occur naturally?
Some of it does.
It's a weird one. That's a rabbit hole in itself right there.
Huh. What do we know about it?
Timothy Leary was a genius
So how's it made?
in
Well,
a lab.
It's Albert Hoffman was the developer. He was a chemist at Sandoz Laboratories in Switzerland, and long story short, they were looking at different uses of the ergot fungus because there had been reports of midwives and quote unquote witches from the earlier times that they used these certain funguses that grew on corn, and there had also been some documented times throughout history that they have some people even think that the Salem witch trials can be attributed to an early frost and an ergot infestation in the bread, which had its effects. But Albert Hoffman he was actually looking for something to help women with childbirth and migraines, and he just started synthesizing different forms of ergot, and he got to lysergic acid diethylamide 25, and it was nothing spectacular. It sat on a shelf for 5 years, and randomly one day he decided to try it, and here we go.
Does the dose matter in that? Obviously it does. So like you could barely do a little or a lot, and it's significant difference.
Well, and that was kind of one of the things. I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself. But he dosed himself with what he thought was a conservative dose of 250 milligrams, and that's quite a lot, actually.
So basically what I'm gathering is it's so potent that a very small amount can affect you dramatically.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't believe when it comes to LSD, I don't think there's really a way to microdose it, to be honest with you. I mean, I suppose it probably can
Teeny
be done,
tiny amount or something?
Yeah,
but it's hard to
yeah. It is harder, definitely. But I had people do take a single tab, which is a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch, and an X-Acto knife, and cut that into 6 pieces or something. And so I mean that tells you what an actual effective dose is you're talking about a 1/16 of an inch by a 1/16 of an inch of paper holds enough to affect you.
Interesting. Going on down the line, I got mushrooms on here. Pretty sure everybody here has experimented with magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Absolutely.
absolutely correct.
There's a lot to be known about mushrooms. They're naturally occurring. Nothing's made in a lab. What always stuck out to me though is how mushrooms breathe oxygen like we do, unlike all the other plants. I've had a lot of experiences with mushrooms. I don't know about y'all.
Very, very much.
Very much.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Derek opened my eyes one day when I was over here. He showed me a movie. Was it Fantastic
Fantastic
Fungi?
Fungi.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
fantastic.
yeah.
Wasn't that on
Yeah.
YouTube recently?
Netflix. I
It
think
was
it's
on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Still there.
Yeah,
It's not on
and-
Netflix. Well, when
Yeah.
I looked it up, it said you had to have like YouTube Premium. Which I
Yeah.
didn't
It
mention.
wanted me to buy it for $5, and I was like,
I was trying to get him to watch it last night.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
that-
sure it's on. Do you have a Netflix?
yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's on there though.
I looked it up and
Oh,
went
no.
there.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
they
one
must have
time.
just took it off.
Yeah,
That's
disappointing.
definitely worth a watch. It literally shows you how anything and everything in this world is pretty much connected by fungus.
Yep.
Yeah, they say there's more spores in the air than anything else.
Yeah.
Like right here, in between me and you, there's more spores than oxygen, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when Paul Stamets, the Mushroom Man, when he was on Joe Rogan, that was one of the things that he said. He was talking about how there were spores everywhere, and he was saying that it goes to the level that, like, we all have such a fungal network occurring on us, in us, that right now just us being in the same room, that we are, I mean, basically invisibly connected by fungus, because yours is in the air, mine's in the air. Like, we're walking, talking mushrooms, basically, is what Paul Stamets says.
There was a theory that they came from outer space. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
And I didn't read much into it, but does anybody know anything about that? I'm curious.
I can't say that I've heard that.
I've never, I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody could have any proof of that, but I can fully understand why somebody would have the thought.
Well, there's people out there listening and watching this that have never had any experience with any kind of psychedelic. And what they're thinking is, oh, these guys are a bunch of druggies. You know, when you start opening up your mind, it's a whole different world out there.
That's the craziest part about it to me is, you know, just, I call it the before time, you know, before I had ever eaten.
When things were bland.
Yeah, and I can't even say that they were bland. It was like, I mean, honestly, it's like before losing your virginity. Like, it's on that level. It's like you're just, it wasn't a crazy, unnatural drug experience. It was, oh, wow, this is something that comes out of the ground and therefore has literally been experienced by everybody on Earth that found it, you know? And then you start feeling real lucky that you found it, or at least I did.
Diving on down this rabbit hole here, boys. Peyote. Has anybody ever done peyote?
Cannot say I have.
Never have.
Have you ever even seen a peyote plant?
Yes.
On TV.
Yeah.
So that's
I've
what it
seen
looks
lots of
like.
pictures, yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty wild.
I believe its actual name is called Lavaphora.
What's the deal? I mean, you get some juice out of it, or do you eat that thing right there, or what do you do?
I think they're making a drink. Basically, they're boiling
Squeezing it?
No,
Oh,
they're
boiling it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it takes quite a while to boil down. Like, I think it's a really, really long process.
Similar to ayahuasca, right? How they make that into a drink.
Yeah.
So ayahuasca, though, is actually two different things that don't even grow close together.
Right.
It's kind of wild that somebody figured that out somehow. But ketamine, I'm not sure about that. It was on the list. What is a ketamine? Is that a horse tranquilizer?
Tranquilizer. Yeah.
So it's a synthetic.
Yeah, it's a dissociative.
Right. But a lot of people, from what I was reading, they use it for different forms of therapy. You know?
Right.
It's not
Yeah,
it's not like to sit around and ponder. And they were putting like face masks on and sitting quietly doing it. I was like, what is that about?
From what I understand, well, actually, I had a friend of mine's wife. She actually just told me within the past couple of months she broke her arm and had to go to the hospital and everything, and that's what they used to set her arm because it's so fast acting.
Ketamine?
Yeah, I believe they use it. I think it can be in an inhaler or even injectable. But anyways,
What was the purpose?
Well, pain relief, so they could set her arm because it's like a dissociative. And she said that her experience with it, and she's also psychedelically experienced already, mushrooms, things like that. She'd never done ketamine before. But she said that when they gave her the injection of ketamine, she said that like she had this experience that she was in another place and that there were beings working on her and that they were the ones that fixed her arm and not the doctors. So, I mean, just anecdotal little
So
story.
is this imaginary or is this really what's happening? I wonder.
I don't know. She said that it was kind of weird because it was almost like that the doctors were doing the physical work and then that the others were like caring for her and comforting her through the process.
We'll be sure to edit that out.
I don't know. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It sort of sounded like a gong.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, maybe it was them from the other side ringing my bell telling me to come on out.
That might have been a wink.
Whoa.
That might have
Watch
been a
out.
wink.
I know many years ago when ketamine was starting to become prevalent.
Has anybody done ketamine?
Yes.
You're the only one?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Robert's going down
Do
on the
tell.
scale.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Well,
Is there anything you haven't done?
street pharmacists, street pharmacists, we run across a lot of things. But yeah, a lot of times they get it from a veterinary clinic. It'd be cat tranquilizer. Yeah. And they'd
Okay, so it's not just a horse tranquilizer.
It's not just
so
horse
it's just a
tranquilizer.
tranquilizer.
I've actually
just a
done
drink.
gorilla tranquilizer.
Oh boy,
We used to call it the ape rape drug.
Oh, that's a good shit.
and you're still alive?
I'm still alive.
Wow.
I went to took just a little bitty key bump, and my buddy, he was like, "Man, you better finish rolling that joint." I was like, "Man, I got this. It's fine. It's no problem." About 2 seconds later, I was nodded out. Didn't wake up for 16 hours.
Oh, see, to me that's not really.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound
that's
very
it.
fun.
It wasn't.
It's
It
not
wasn't
fun.
the best time. I woke
that
up the
K-hole.
next. Yeah, I woke up the next day. The joint was still sitting in front of me, unrolled, and everybody was gone.
And I'm sure there's some that we're missing off our list. I just was going to try to cover like the main ones. There's 2 left. DMT, otherwise known as dimethyltryptamine. Who here has done that? Just, of course, Fog. Y'all too have done that. Again, so is this made in a lab? I don't think it is. Like everybody has it, right?
yeah, it's an
It's
extract.
in the
I mean, it's
entire
extracted.
ecosystem everywhere, in blades of grass, everything.
Yeah.
So if it's in your brain right now, how do you get it to release?
That little push.
When you sleep,
Yeah.
when you sleep, it's released. That's how you have dreams.
I mean, it happens. That's
And-
why there's monks. You know?
And the
I mean,
DMT just opens the floodgates.
You know what trips me out is the people that I've talked to that have done it is how fast that it acts.
Oh yeah, before you can blow it out, you're starting to.
That's instantaneous.
yeah. The prism starts immediately. I mean, immediately.
And how long does it last?
I've never in my life had something hit me so fast as DMT.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like breathe it in and you're breathing out and it's already in.
But before you breathe it out, you're feeling it, and you're like, buckle up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, this is about to be a ride.
So how long does it last?
15 minutes around, roughly.
It does depend on how you take it, though. I've
Yeah.
heard if you take it nasally, it could last up to about 3 hours.
Let me interject there because he told me that, right? Fogg told me that. Yeah. If you snort it, you'll get it.
Did you do
it'll
it?
Be good. I did, and I did feel some, but nowhere near as much as when I
wasn't
smoked
as
it.
good, yeah.
And I felt like my head was going to explode. My nose hurt so bad. I was like,
I did
and
warn you about
it. It
that.
ruined the rest of the night. He did warn me. He was like, "Oh, I hear it'll really fuck your nose up." Oh my god. I was like, "Okay, well that was fun. I'm never doing that shit again."
So you're like gone.
No. I didn't. My nose hurt so bad that I couldn't enjoy or anything. Like I still felt it, but nothing like. I mean, when I put it on just a little bowl pack and smoke it, or you can be like me and forget that you use that bowl, and then a couple weeks later you pack a bowl and you go to hit it, and then you're like,
You're
"Hold
not
up."
the only one. You are not the only one.
I can't wait till we get into trip reports. That's going to be fun. One last one on the list, and again, this is not all of them. This is just the big ones. As ayahuasca, a lot of people have never even heard of that or know what it is. I have a picture of it right here. If you're wondering, it's 2 things. It looks to me like some kind of wood and some leaves.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
It's a vine.
It's a
and some
vine?
leaves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And they don't grow anywhere near each other, right?
No, they don't. And they're also in the Amazon, which is known to at least 180,000 species of plants. And who knows? But when you ask the man in the Amazon that's wearing his fig leaves and making this stuff,
The shaman.
Look at it.
how did you do this? He says, mushrooms told us how to do it. And everybody wants to laugh, but give me a better explanation.
Well, looking at this picture, so you drink the juice or the water. You're not eating the leaves or the
no.
like
It's
boil it.
just
You got to boil it.
Yeah.
So you just simply boil these 2 things together.
And I think it's like 72 hours or something.
You
like,
boil it for 3 days.
If mushrooms were brought here from another planet, and we're so similar to mushrooms, then hey,
Where
are
does
we
that
from
put
this
us?
planet?
Where does that put us on the spectrum of everything?
Like you look at something like a octopus.
yeah.
Right.
There's nothing on this world that so if you could say, if there's an alien on this planet, it's a octopus,
Right.
Because there's nothing similar to it. So, but we're similar to mushrooms, and now we're designing, hardware that's similar to all of that. Like,
So I actually have a clip from Terrence McKenna, and I wanted to play for y'all and get your reactions to it.
The nexus of space and time where you are now is the most immediate sector of your universe. And if you're worrying about Michael Jackson or Bill Clinton or somebody else, then you are disempowered. You're giving it all away to icons. Icons which are maintained by an electronic media, so that you want to dress like X or have lips like Y or something. This is shit-brained, this kind of thinking. That is all cultural diversion. And what is real is you and your friends and your associations.
Ain't that wild?
Yeah.
I agree with all of it.
Everybody is just looking at everybody else and everything else, and they don't even care about their own agenda anymore at all.
People are more interested in what new car the Kardashians have than who's going to be running this country, or, you know, all that shit. It's crazy.
All right, then. Well, let's go ahead and get into trip reports. I'm sure that the people watching would be curious of the experiences. General Jenkins, you got any fun trip reports that you'd like to bring to the table?
This is the part where we get to all sound like crazy people, right?
Yeah.
We are crazy.
Apparently.
I've been messing with the, psychedelics since I was 17 or so.
Right.
Mostly at first, I started with acid because it was readily available. My buddy would get it all the time. Then once I did mushrooms, I realized acid was the dirty version of psychedelics. Made my back hurt. It might have rat poison made with it and all kinds of stuff. Then when I did mushrooms, I was like, this is amazing. Like, there's no side effect. If I took them early and maybe trip for 6 or so hours, and then I'm done at 12 or 1 at night, I can go to sleep. I mean, I could have went to sleep hours before if I wanted to. I wake up the next day, I feel great. And then just recently, last year was the first time I ever experienced DMT, and that was a whole different ball game. And
Yeah, what's that like, man?
I would say it's probably the most spiritual experience I've had with psychedelics.
But there's some scary parts too, right?
Yeah, it's a little scary. You feel something drawing you, pulling you towards a place. And you kind of go through a tunnel, right? And it opens up. And then this big face is staring at me. And I knew in my mind it wanted me to talk to it.
Did it look mad or
No, didn't look mad.
just chilling?
Yeah, I never experienced the bad. Some people get the bad elves. Some people get the good elves. I never experienced anything that felt evil or malicious in any way.
Fog, you got any trip reports for us down there on the end?
Far too many to keep going on this podcast.
Give me a good one. Give me a good one.
Well, the DMT, usually I like to do things by myself nowadays just because it's more calm, it's relaxing.
Yeah.
I think that might be the...
It literally
Right,
is like
yeah.
just to get into your own self. It actually helps you figure yourself out a little bit when you actually look inside yourself when you're doing these things. But the last mushroom trip I took, oh my goodness gracious, there's many points where I was just not on this plane of existence anymore. I actually feel like I may have broke through the matrix. It kind of, I was in a place, there was beings there, and it felt like I was in an Iron Man helmet because there was all kinds of digital circles and symbols, and then these beings just beyond my horizon. I could see them. I couldn't make them out what they were.
Damn.
It kind of scared me a little bit, but that's the only time I've ever actually felt any kind of fear. But ecstasy back in the day, it was usually pretty strong back then.
So ecstasy, is it a hallucinogenic?
Can be.
Yeah.
Can be.
I mean, sometimes they it depends on what they put it. They'll put ketamine in it. They'll put heroin. They'll put speed. I mean, it's just
That doesn't sound like anything that I want to mess with.
I would when I was 20.
Yeah.
I'd be in a club, somebody like, hey, and I'd buy a pill right there and eat it. But nowadays, with fentanyl and everything, ain't no way I'm taking that shit from somebody I don't know. You know,
I wholeheartedly agree with him. Back then, man, it was about 20 years ago. we'd bring the DJ back from the club with us and party for 2 or 3 more days.
It sounds like we need to go deeper. Derek, do you have a trip report that you'd like to bring to us?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few out there. It's astonishing to me because I kind of look back and I'm like, because I didn't have my first experience until I was 32 or so. And like, I was just never even exposed, you know, like it wasn't like there was a group of guys at school that, you know,
the cliche, you go to a party and there's like drugs being handed out. Was it like that for you?
not at all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
I never saw any of that stuff, really. I didn't go around a lot of people in high school anyway.
Yeah, and I think that probably was a lot of it in my case too. But as far as trip reports, I guess you're wanting to get into the.
But yeah, I am curious. I've been told that you actually went to the ayahuasca retreat. Now, a lot of people don't even know what ayahuasca is. If we could preface what it is, I got a picture of it right here that I wanted to put up real fast for y'all. What exactly is this?
It's a combination of the ayahuasca vine, which is the wood part that you see in there.
Right. It must be a thick vine because that looks like big old shreds.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And they take the vine and, cut it out of the forest, and then they take another stick and they beat it on a rock to break it into pieces like that. Water, and then the leaves are Banisteriopsis caapi, which is that's the DMT containing portion of the brew. The vine itself is actually the MAOI, the monoamine oxidase inhibitor. It's what allows DMT to be processed by the gut instead of destroyed. Because like you said earlier, lettuce has got DMT in it, but you're not tripping when you eat a Caesar salad.
It's destroyed.
Yep.
Oh,
so,
it's the preserver.
Yeah. So they found a way to bypass the system, and
you Googled this guy that does it in Tennessee.
It was Kentucky.
Kentucky, and you set it up. You go out there. I don't know did he send you a guide sheet, or he just, hey, show up and be ready to roll?
Well, I mean, kind of, sort of, there was
disclaimer.
There was a vetting process. He needed to know any medical background and if there's any medications that you're using. Anybody that's considering it, SSRIs, anti-anxiety medication, depression medication, stuff like that, can have some pretty damaging consequences if done together. So
I want to interject right there. That's strange because hallucinogenics will help cure, maybe even get rid of anxiety and depression.
Right.
But if you're taking the meds that we make from Big Pharma, with that, you're going to have some issues.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a plus and a minus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's, I don't know. I try not to go down the whole, evil and.
We're going way down the whole today. You show up. What do you see? What happens? It's 13 people, you said?
No, it was 12 of us. I left the house that morning, 7.5-hour drive. I got there 30 minutes before it was time to drink. And, I go inside, basically get my stuff settled down, and we go around the room. Everybody kind of introduce themselves. And at that point, he gives everybody a half cup. Just because he said, I want everybody to have, it's maybe a half of a shot glass.
And this is a 3-day adventure, right?
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
So he gives you a little more than a shot glass.
No, a little less than a shot glass for the first dose.
Okay.
And
did it taste bad or anything?
Yes. Yeah, it didn't. I did
It's
not.
clear?
No, it's very brown.
Brown?
It's, a
Can
vine.
you describe the taste at all?
Just
wood, maybe?
Bitter dirt. It was weird because it tasted thick, but it wasn't thick. It was the consistency of water, but yeah, it was difficult to get down. And my first thing was, when I went in there and they handed me this cup, then it became apparent that you're 7.5 hours away from home.
Oh boy,
That'll definitely do it.
man! Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you down this thing as
Yeah.
you're having this thought.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
because I've done the work, so
So
I get
now
there.
what do? We just sit here?
Yeah, and so we did that, waited about 15 minutes, because he wanted to make sure nobody was going to have any kind of, reactions or anything. And then once everybody was good, out came the full cup's worth, and, we all had that. And then everybody had either air mattress, cot, something. We're all in one room, just kind of spread out in a circle or whatever. But I remember going to my air mattress and just, laying down.
So there's beds.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had whatever you wanted. You could bring a cot or an air mattress or something like that. So, yeah, but everybody had their own little space within this, big room.
Is that like if you need to get away or something?
Well, no, that was just kind of how it was set up. Like everybody drank, and then you just went to your spot. I mean, there was somebody as close to me as me and you, but
Did you start feeling it pretty soon?
No, it probably took a solid 30 minutes or so, I would say. And then I went from nothing to just feeling like extremely nauseous. And that's something that happens. They refer to it as the purge.
You said extremely nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Could you hold it back, you think?
Absolutely. Well, I fought it for a period of time, and then it finally took over, and it had to come out. I thought I had thrown up before, but nope. Like that night was the only time I ever really threw up in my life, sort of a feeling.
So it's not just one time. It's like over and over.
Yeah, probably twice, but it was like, in like right back to back.
So at this point, you're only feeling nausea.
Yeah.
There's no
No,
visual.
no.
There's
And I threw up the first time, and because they've got bowls there. I mean, they know what's coming. So, first time, and then she hands me the second bowl, and like 30 seconds later, I threw up again. And then after that, it was just like light switch. It went from nothing to throw up, and as soon as everything got out, I was gone, and just laid back on the bed at that point. And it was just black. There was I didn't have any thought. I didn't have any visuals. I didn't have any feelings. It was like they turned me off for a few hours. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just turned off the first night.
that's impossible to do.
Like a manual reset.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about zero anything.
Yeah, it was just, and I can't even say that it was just black because I didn't experience even that.
Was your eyes closed?
Oh, yeah.
So you're laying on your air mattress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Noth-
but
nothing.
just off. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I wasn't asleep. I wasn't.
Keep in mind, this is night one of a 3-day thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this was also on the lower dose side because the first
my
night,
goodness.
he told us beforehand, that it's just like making tea. You can make it as diluted as you want to make it. So he was, the next morning, all right, night 2 is going to be, we're going to get the full ride or whatever. And then the second night, stronger dose. And
Was it more in the cup? Or a stronger, the tea was made stronger?
right. Yeah. It's just,
So still the same amount.
yeah. It was a little,
Same bad taste, same throwing up and everything?
no, I didn't throw up the second night. Because, not everybody throws up, and you don't throw up all the time.
It's almost like it's getting rid of all the bad stuff somehow.
Purge.
Think
That's
about
why
that.
they call it the purge.
Yeah. Like it just-
cleansing.
but there's also people that they purge through laughter.
We need to do a crowdfund and send Robert to do this and send him back with a report. If we get the money up, will you go do it and come back and tell us about it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
How much was it? About 500, 600, 700?
Yeah, I think it was about 6. But
Okay.
that place is no longer operating, sadly.
So it's
But-
night number 2. Here's your drink.
Yep.
Did he any warning? Hey, get ready. This is gonna be a little more.
Yeah,
Than,
I mean, not really any warnings. I mean, we had been talking the whole time, like as a group, and that's the other thing. It's just so unbelievable, like the bonds that you can make with people in such a short period of time. And like, these guys do a lot of traveling and things like that. And just randomly, they were coming through North Carolina, and they went 3 hours out of their way to come to my house to just hang out for an evening, you know. So the second night, there was a lady there that she'd had a difficult time on the first night, and she felt like she needed to switch spots in the room with someone. I mean, I don't know. You know, she was just like, I think it would be helpful.
Okay.
And before I know it, you know, like my hand's up and I'm like, I'll trade with you. So me and her trade. And the reason that I bring that up is because the problems that she had the night before, like she was, she was losing it for a little bit, you know. I mean, she was battling some things that she did not want to deal with, you know, and you just can't do that. You know, it was kind of unnerving watching her go through that the first night. And then the second night, before we had even drank, we switched places. And the second night, you know, like I said, the brew was a little stronger. She really went off the deep end. Like, I mean,
boy.
she got loud. Like it was. Yeah.
That can't help you when you're trying to center yourself.
No. Like I said, a little unnerving.
You know, energy spreads. So
Right,
that
right.
would be messing me up like crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Right.
sure between all of us, there's been somebody around. That,
Oh,
Yeah.
like
that
you talking
has
about like
just
bad
like
trip.
screaming Like, when you say off the deep end, because people out
Yeah.
here are like, well, what they're imagining everything like screaming, get me out of here, make this stop.
Yes.
This has to stop.
All of the above.
Oh, it's not going to
Yeah,
stop.
nope, it's
Oh,
not. It's not.
frick.
All of the above. To the point that the guy that, you know, ran the place, you know, like he was telling her like, you have to, you know, come to grips with this because I'm fixing to have to restrain you because I don't want you to hurt yourself or anyone else, because she was just flailing around, screaming, make it stop, and all of this. And I'm just sitting here going, oh no, you know, like this is going to be a bad experience.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
This is not going to be good.
It's not a video game. You're playing. You're like, I don't like this. I'm gonna turn it off and play something else.
yeah.
You're already there, so you might as well just experience
Right.
what it is. And like you said, it's probably depends on your state of mind and where you're at in your life at that point. So if you went now and you're in a better place, it'd be a different experience. Or if you're in a worse place, it'd be a different experience.
Check this out.
Let me tell you something, right? If they laugh at you for being different, laugh at them for being the same. And don't forget to laugh, you heard?
See, that's what happens when you do psychedelics. You no longer care about fitting in anymore. You're riding around with a microwave on your head. So it looks like we are getting low on our time, though, y'all. If you want to, let's put it over here to General Jenkins, if you would. Take us on out of here, man.
All right. Well, guys, it's looking like our time for this episode has run out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Smash that like button. And follow us on Facebook. If you have a topic you want us to cover, or you would like to call in and appear on the show, reach out to us at informantspodcast@gmail.com. And always remember, the truth is out there.
Hey, y'all gonna talk and say something?
Yeah, that was all right there.
Yeah, we just need to
Kept on feeling like I was going to be a little bit weird.
Yeah. But it's good
I
stuff,
don't know.
though,
I
man.
remember you hitting that button one time.
I'm
when I
ready for
started
the 8
talking
o'clock
about
Friday
scantily
night
clad
special.
women.
We're going to the extended cut.